Welcome to C4 News. This is non-politically correct news. You won't just get one side of the news here. I don't have any affiliation with any Democrat or Republican. I am an independent voter. No one owns my mind or point of view. My aim is to not bring you just the news, but information that will enlighten you, spark thought. In other words, I want to make you think. Think about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Where you came from, where you are, and especially where you're going as a people and civilization. Welcome to C4 News Post-Election Show, and I'm C4, your host. The election was Tuesday, November 5th, and yes, I could have been in a race with other news programs to present what I had to say first. But as I said in my show's greetings, I have no loyalty to anyone but my audience. I owe you the respect of not just having something to say, but giving you pertinent information to help you think. So what I did was spend most of the week listening to the major news shows to listen to the varying points of view. But the more I listened, the more that wasn't being said. Democrats blamed everything except for their platform for the loss. I heard that Joe Biden was to blame, to Pelosi saying that maybe Kamala wasn't the right candidate. The Democrats seem to be searching for everything but the obvious. Why would pretty much all men, except for those that are brainwashed by the Matrix, vote for a man who is not only a treasonous felon, but a rude, inconsiderate asshole? I'll give you a hint. Most men didn't vote for him, but against the Democratic platform. I guarantee you, most men who voted for Trump saw one thing, and that was that commercial with Kamala promising to use taxpayer dollars to finance sex change operations. No matter how the commercial was spliced together, it was extremely effective. Real men have had enough of this Sebastian and Serge business. We are tired of going to the public restroom and trying to figure out which bathroom is for us. We are tired of this flamboyantly gay man trouncing up and down the street. This is not homophobic behavior. This is nature. We really could care less about what you do in your spare time and who you share your bed with. This is not our business, but we do care about you praising this behavior in our face. This country claims to be Christian. Well, isn't a main story in the Bible about Sodom and Gomorrah? Why did the angels destroy the city? There is no room in the middle, period. Men are made to love women. Some men like thick women. Some men like thin women. Some men like light-skinned women. And some men like dark-skinned women. Heck, some men like women with an attitude, and some men like women that are submissive. No matter how you shake it, we love women. Every inch of a woman is gorgeous to us. Sorry, men are just hardwired that way. This is part of the Thor complex that the modern day woman don't like. What do you want though? Some metrosexual man with clothes as tight as yours with a handbag? What is this world turning into? No, Trump is not the best representation of man, but he is a man with machismo. I have a few questions for women. Do you feel something in your core when you know a man is checking you out? Why do you think God, the creator, with all of his creations, created you with such a shapely figure? Look at the animal kingdom. There is nothing like you. Every other animal is almost indistinguishable between male and female. But human women are very distinguishable from their male counterparts. With your wide hips, large breasts, thick, beautiful legs, and my favorite, as much junk in the trunk as possible that can be fitted onto your frame. Isn't this why you have plastic surgery? The women who don't have these attributes pay thousands of dollars to attain them. You can't have it both ways. Men love you. Simple. The Bond series is not popular because of the gadgets and the fight scenes. It is his machismo. It is his playboy lifestyle. It is the multiple gorgeous women that he flirts with and sometimes bed. Men are the most simplest interpretation of the Creator that you'll find on earth. He didn't say be fruitful by multiplying because he didn't want you to have sex or be frigid and not have a lot of variations of the sex that we have. David and Solomon, who together amount to about 35 to 40% of the Bible, enjoyed sex with women. This is really going to trip you out. Check this out. If David and Solomon's behavior was so against God's will, then why was Jesus in their bloodline? It would have been easy to separate Jesus from their bloodline. No matter how badly the Bible is written, it is impossible to escape that David is the mark of greatness. So much so that Jesus consistently acknowledges this connection. Most women today, though, are more comfortable with the devil than God. I can kind of understand that, but this does not excuse you from the disrespect of the chief's principles. I know a woman who claims that she has never had children, but has had abortions. She also claims to be a devout Christian. What I can't figure out is how does she expect to enter heaven without having children, but is guilty of murdering the seeds of life? How is there a next generation without children? My ex-wife and I can't stand each other, but we have 2 children together. Yes, she has had abortions in the past, but I think she was around 20 years old at the time. But we at least replaced ourselves. All able-bodied people are required to at least replace themselves on this planet. This becomes the problem with the Democratic platform. The base of their platform is against God's will. Understand that you are being had in the disguise of liberty and freedom. I don't know what to say about the black man in America. Most of us are so afraid of our own shadow that we make excuses for being Christians, when the only reason that you are a Christian is that you were terrorized. The same reason why the Aztecs and the Mesoamerican Indians speak Spanish. The black man in America is so afraid to stand for something that he continually falls for the same trick. You have been in the same or worse position for over 100 years. Face it, black man, you are not a Christian in any form. Your religious base dates way before Jesus. You are Islamic by nature, which simply means submission to the Creator. No matter if you worship the stars, the planets, the seasons, or nature, you worship the Creator of these things. As long as you remain in this denial state, you will be subject to what you receive. Even in the Bible it says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear them from heaven and I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land. Since this scripture is from the Old Testament, it is not talking about Jesus. I say this to take away any confusion. We as people need to seek God, the chief, the creator of all things. Jesus teaches us how to do this in a way that's not as strict as the Old Testament. Jesus did not mean for us to worship him. We allowed the devil to twist the meaning and mission of Jesus. But this is the devil's job. Jesus shows you the way to the chief. This is what is meant by the meaning of Jesus is the way, the truth, the light, and that no one comes to the Father except by him. Christian preachers have turned this text into something outside of its intended purpose. Now let's take it apart. If you follow the teachings of Jesus, you are on the road to the chief. Jesus has no reason to lie. You may not like what he has to say, but that does not make him a liar. He is the light. This means that he shines a light on areas that in your life are dark. Remember, he didn't like people to cry, or did he like them to be sad? He always took the time to make sure he changed your tears into joy. Now here comes the kicker. No one comes to the Father except by him. This does not mean what most Christians believe. They take this to mean that you have to pray to Jesus. They are absolutely incorrect. 1, the chief does not need a guard, a guardian, or an introduction. 2, secondly, the chief exists without the presence of Jesus or anyone else. What actually is meant by this portion of the verse is that you are asked to walk as Jesus did, not to seek treasure, not to seek acknowledgement or thanks. Do good to your fellow man with innocent intentions. Even when they attempt to thank you, you tell them to thank God, because without God, the circumstances for your help could not exist. Jesus never asked for anything for his help. The most he would ask for is lodging or food, but even these requests had nothing to do with your help, just a human need. When you can do good for others without any need or acceptance of payment of any kind, you are on the right road. I may have stepped on some toes with that one. I understand why the church would ask for help to pay the light bill, the gas bill, the mortgage payments, etc. But by no means are you meant to enrich yourself off of your congregation. If Jesus lived amongst the people, then why would you live above the people? There is nothing wrong with having nice things, but these things should not come at the expense of the people in the church. Find a profession outside of the church to make yourself wealthy. To get rich off of your congregation is an unforgivable sin that there is no comeback from. Why say this, you may ask? Simple. God, nor your salvation costs a dime. I have more respect for small churches with a small following than a mega church. If you have a mega church, you should have a homeless shelter, feed the poor daily, have an orphanage, and a rehab facility. If you don't have these things or are not in the process of obtaining these things, then you have no business with a mega church. There shouldn't be a homeless or hungry person within 6 blocks of your church. Not a member of your church should have an overdue light bill, heating bill, or need food. Since most religious people are poor, then this means that they are the most vulnerable and should not be taken advantage of. My black people, especially black Americans, have been terrorized out of their names, their heritage, and traditions. The white man has forced you into something that is not real. No, I take that back. It is real, but it's more like devil worship than pursuit of the chief. We must have the courage to worship the Creator of all things alone while following the teachings of Jesus. Then God of the universe will turn our situation around. This even stretches to our politics. How can you expect help from a constitution that when it was written did not include you as any more than 3/5 of a person rather than full citizens? This was later amended in 1868 that supposedly included us, but this is only after about 1 million people died in the Civil War. So understand, black man, that if there were no Abraham Lincoln, you would not have been added. This brings to mind a question. How did the good people of the United States repay Mr. Lincoln for fighting for your right to be free? They killed him and put him on the penny, the only brownish money on the market. This penny is also the most worthless currency on the market. In doing research, Lincoln on the penny was introduced in 1909. This was also the first coin to have a president on it. This was done in disdain for him. He is also the only president on a coin to face right. I have to take that one as a Freudian slip. God works in mysterious ways. He is also on the $5 bill. I have to do more research on that bill and I'll get back to you. So remember, whenever the Constitution is mentioned, that in its original version, you were not considered a full citizen. And the only way you got added is because Lincoln was willing to allow almost 1 million of his own countrymen to be killed to set you free from slavery. And what did they do? They killed him and put him on the penny. So in all actuality, you are no more than 3/5 of a citizen, which in itself was a compromise. Even the 40 acres and the mule to each freed slave family was rebuked. President Andrew Johnson, who was a Democrat, a Southerner, reversed this order after Lincoln's assassination, returning the land to the former Confederate owners. And he was the vice president to Lincoln. Lincoln's body wasn't even cold, and he took back as much as he could from what Lincoln accomplished, including removing protections from newly freed slaves and returning your promised land to the Confederate States. Blacks are responsible for the Industrial Revolution that the entire world profits from today, and you can't even get paid. Yet and still, you vote Democrat. What kind of fools are you? I'm certainly not saying vote Republican, but why we don't have our own minority party is insane. You are a slave and will always be considered a slave in this country until you have the will to fight the system that terrorizes you. I will continue to fight for you, even when you won't. I will take honor in being the rebel when you want to get along and be accepted. I know I'm not liked or accepted, but this is why my black ghetto behind always shows up in the places that they feel as though that we don't belong. I was born for this. Thank you for watching this post-election edition of C4 News. Remember to leave your comments, good or bad. I myself, I only acknowledge right and wrong. Good and bad is subjective. Just remember, keep your head up while your ear is to the street. Have a blessed day.